Hey everybody, today I wanted to talk a little bit about finances today. As you guys know, there are so many different layers to finance, so I'm not going to cover a wide variety of topics within finance, just one particular subtopic, which is purchasing. Um, so, when it comes to purchasing, I think that we go wrong when we think about the things that we can afford. And we think that just because we can purchase something, that means that we can afford it. Just because we have enough money in our account or enough money in our wallet or in our pocket to be able to make a purchase, that means that we can afford it. And that is so far from the truth. Being able to afford something means that you will still have financial stability even after you make the purchase. But oftentimes, especially in today's society, our generation, we're just swipe happy, and just because the money's there in the account, we just need just enough to be able to make that purchase, to be able to spend that, whatever it is. And I honestly just want us all to get free from that. I've been a victim of that myself, and still currently try to make strides to ensure that I don't put myself in certain situations that'll keep me trapped and in bondage like that. So I just wanted to share my little bit of knowledge with you guys when it comes to purchasing. And hopefully it can help you guys out in more ways than one. So as I mentioned, being able to pay for a product, a service, being able to make a purchase does not mean that you can afford to pay for something. You can buy a car and you have enough money in your account to be able to make the payments. Once you do the calculations of, okay, they tell you at the dealership how much the insurance is going to be. They tell you how much the car payments are going to be. And so you're like, oh, I can afford that. Wrong. You can't. You don't know yet if you can, because you have to really check your finances and make sure. And a very important thing, I should preface by saying that it is very important to budget. Budgeting, it seems a little tedious and a little annoying, but I guarantee you, I'm telling you, budgeting is like one of the best things you can do, because if not for nothing else, even if you don't do it to help you save money, to help you make more money, at least you get a visual of where your money is going. You may think you can register it all up here, like, oh yeah, I know I spent $5 at Wendy's, I spent this here, I spent that. But this don't add up. You know how sometimes when you're just looking at your bank account, or you're looking at, all these deductions and everything that you spend, you're like, something ain't right. This don't add up. And while we all have all these different theories and myths about like the bank still earn our money and this, that, and the third, whatever it may be, we have to take accountability for our spending, because that $5 here, that $15 there, $30 there, $10 there, I'm telling you, it adds up more than you think. And so when you have an actual visual of where all that money went, and like you write it down, it helps you to get focused. And focus is key when it comes to financial freedom. Focus, focus, focus. So once you budget and you know how much you make, and you know how much all your other bills and expenses are, then you can decide, okay, whether or not you can afford this particular product or service. So again, with the example with the car dealership, so before you be quick to be like, oh yeah, I make this amount, so yeah, I should be able to afford this car. But understand that there are so many other obligations that come with having that car, because aside from just the payments and then the insurance, you also have maintenance, and God forbid anything goes wrong, any breakdowns, because we know how they do, mechanics. So you got to be prepared for all of that. Now, what I mean by to know the difference between if you're able to afford something and if you can just make a purchase is, if making this purchase is going to disturb your financial peace, then you cannot afford to make this purchase right now. And there are different ways you can go around that, and I'll get into that in a minute. But I really want you guys to hone in on this fact that, like, if it's going to disturb your financial peace, your financial flow, where, if you are unable to make a payment one month, they can come, whatever that thing is that you got in your house, that furniture or that car, and you paying it off, you financing it, it's on layaway, whatever it is, they can come back and take it at any time. That is not financial freedom. You're still in debt to somebody. And so if God forbid you can't make a payment or a few payments or whatever their threshold is, then you're in big trouble, because they have access to be able to take that back from you in whatever ways and means that they find necessary. So don't get so caught up in the idea of, oh yeah, I make enough to be able to afford this. But actually really process and budget everything out to make sure that if you not feeling well, and you can't go to work today, you can afford to call out. And it won't impact whether or not you'll be able to make your car payment or whatever purchase that you just made. So that is the difference between being able to afford something, because if you're able to afford something, even if you don't make the same, your paycheck looks different this week and next week, you will not be struggling to try and make those payments for whatever that bill is. You see what I mean? It's like, you will not be in such a tight spot that you're like, oh my gosh, oh man, I can't miss a day of work, or oh man, like this unexpected repair or this unexpected bill hit me and I'm like stuck right now. And we've all been in those places, and I'm sure we will continue to find ourselves in certain situations when we're in need of a little bit of help, or when our finances are kind of like grabbing us by the throat and it's a little bit difficult, to each his own. But I think that it's very important that we really take hold of our finances and start working towards financial freedom. So now, those things that I was talking about, where there are ways that you can work around it to try to get yourself in a position to be able to afford some of those things that you want, like that car that you want, but you're like, okay, yeah, I make enough money to be able to pay for it. But if my paycheck looks different than next week, I'm gonna be in trouble. Or if this happens, I'm gonna be in trouble, or whatever. One way that you can definitely try to avoid that is look at some of the expenses that you have currently and ask yourself, what are some expenses that I can cut out? Like, for example, that Netflix subscription. I know it's only $10. That gym membership, that $10, $20, $30, $40 a month. If you feel like you can do without one of the reoccurring monthly purchases, I would say to cancel that and continue to take that same amount of money that you were putting towards that subscription and put it aside somewhere. If you think that you're going to be tempted to use it, if you leave it in your bank account, then just create some sort of extra account or take it and have like whatever you got to do to secure that money, but keep putting it in whatever space that you're going to put it in, as if you're still paying that reoccurring payment. You get what I mean? So, if you're paying that $30 for that gym membership, but you don't ever go, although health is wealth and all that, but if you're not going anyway, what's the point of you still having it open? Because maybe if you're like, well, one day I do have hopes of, me having it open will encourage me. Well, then if it comes down to your finances, then I would say, what, if you're really going to do it, then start at home. And then once you start to be consistent at home, then go think about opening that gym membership again. So different little things like that. Like, check how many times you're eating out or you're spending money on food regularly, weekly. Or, that Netflix account, how often do you really use it? Is it really that essential to your livelihood? So take inventory on that and keep that money aside for a rainy day. So in case, something happens, in case you have a unexpected expense or something like that, that you will at least have a little cushion to fall back on. And so, I just want us all to get free. If anybody has any questions or anything on budgeting, you're like, hey, how do I start with budgeting? Because it just seems a little bit complex, or I don't know where to start, or just DM me. If you have my number, call, text, whatever. And I'm not asking for anything from you. I don't need you to do anything. I don't need you to pay me. I just really want to see us all win. I want to see us all get financially free. And it starts with the little things, the little habits, the little things that we need to break out of. And so I'm open. Any questions, anything, you guys just hit me up and let me know. But I just wanted to share that little tip with you guys for the next time that you're getting ready to make a purchase, and you got to ask yourself, is it just that I can make this purchase because I have the money in my account, or am I able to afford this? Am I going to regret it the next week or the next couple days after making this purchase? That's it. Bye.